JBNN keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones. Before we get into the news, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and to share the news with someone today. Now on to the news. Some parishes are under flash flood watch amid increased rainfall. The Met Services issued a flash flood watch for low-lying and flood-prone areas of St. Mary, Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, and Clarendon. A flash flood watch means that flash flooding is possible, and residents are advised to take precautionary measures and be ready for quick action if flooding is observed or if a warning is issued. The measure remains in place until 5 p.m. on Wednesday, November 27. The Met Office says a broad trough across the central and western Caribbean is producing a large area of organized showers and thunderstorms across the region, including Jamaica. Observational data indicate that light to moderate showers and thunderstorms have been affecting eastern parishes since early this morning and is forecast to spread to south central parishes by this afternoon. Projections offer periods of showers and thunderstorms, which may be heavy at times, to affect most parishes, especially eastern and south central parishes this morning through to Wednesday evening. Fishers on the Keys and Banks, especially those on the south coast, are urged to exercise extreme caution as sea conditions will continue to deteriorate in the vicinity of showers, thunderstorms, and strong winds. The Met Office says it will continue to monitor the system. Retired cop killed in Mandeville crash. A retired policeman died as a result of injuries he sustained in a two-vehicle crash in Mandeville, Manchester on Monday. Relatives identified him as Robert Lambert, a retired police sergeant. Preliminary reports are that at about 7 p.m., Lambert was driving a Nissan Tiida motor car towards Villa Road when upon reaching the intersection with the Carteret Road, the car collided with an Isuzu truck. It was taken to hospital where it was pronounced dead. Relatives who gathered at the scene of the crash were in a state of shock and disbelief up to late Monday night. PM very disturbed after latest multiple killing incident. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has described as disturbing Monday night's gun attacks in which 5 men were killed and 1 wounded on Waltham Park Road in Kingston. The Prime Minister made the comments as he toured the community, flanked by security personnel, as well as National Security Minister Dr. Horace Strang and Commissioner of Police Dr. Kevin Blake.
In this multiple victim violent incident, we are very disturbed by this, but I invite Jamaica and the press who are here with us to recall that a few weeks ago we had a press conference at the office of the Prime Minister to discuss what we saw as an emerging trend in violence and in particular homicides in Jamaica. This is as a result, we theorize, from our very effective approach in neutralizing, eradicating, and in many respects disbanding gangs in Jamaica. We have moved from over 300 documented gangs to now just under 180, and we continue to degrade and eradicate. So we take careful note of the change in the nature of homicides in Jamaica. And though it is not yet the majority of homicides, where the homicides are committed in what we are describing as multiple victim violent incidents, rather than the term mass murder, which we're seeing generally used, which connotes a different kind of act. We are still very much concerned that it is a growing profile in the homicides that are being committed. These homicides, these murders, are being committed essentially by gangs. Now, whilst the police have not definitively concluded in this specific instance that it is a gang-related matter, from what we are seeing so far, it is highly likely that it is a gang-related matter. The challenge, of course, is that the communities that are involved may not necessarily identify the players as being involved in a gang, because by and large, the community members would not be necessarily aware of the intricacies and details as to how these gangs operate. But one thing we can be certain of is that gangs have access to weapons. They acquire them, they stockpile them, and they distribute them. They exercise control over them, and they use them to exercise control over territory. They use them to conduct illegal activities such as extortion, trafficking, and other kinds of illegal activities. And ultimately, they use them to inflict harm, violence, and ultimately death in the pursuit of their gang activities. Whether it is reprisals, whether it is robbery, whether it is extortion, whether it is protection, they use armed violence to exercise control and influence over geographical areas. And they use them ultimately to spread fear. One thing that would have come out of this is an incredible fear in the communities that adjoin this area. It is a natural response for 5 persons to die within less than 15 minutes of each other, each incident occurring. And the nature of how it happened, this is a bar with an outdoor area for entertainment. Jamaicans all over, we gather, we sit around a domino table, we have fun. You know, this is how we socialize. And for someone or a group of persons to believe that it is, you know, okay to just walk up onto the street side and shoot innocent persons, from all intents and purposes so far, what the police have.
The JSCF Constabulary Communications Network said the victims remain unidentified. In the first shooting, gunmen opened fire on a man at about 7:30 p.m. Investigators are still working to establish a motive. In the second incident, 5 men were at a bar on Asia Avenue when a car drove up with men aboard who opened fire, hitting them. Grandpa rescues kids from collapsed house. An 11-month-old child and his older cousins were rescued by their grandfather when the foundation of their one-room concrete house collapsed and pitched the structure dangerously close to a nearby river in St. Mary on Saturday. Eric Francis said he had just returned home when he heard the sound of the house shifting. Me hear the noise that come from me back just as me come off of the road. So me jump in the house and took out the baby first and his cousins, he said. The young child and his mother lived in the house, which is located on Richard Kerry Crescent in Richmond. It appears the ground under the structure collapsed after prolonged rainfall between Friday night and Saturday. Francis said he had a similar experience 8 years ago when his house collapsed in the river. He did not indicate what caused the first incident, but theorized that blood drains contributed to Saturday's disaster at his daughter's residence. He insisted that the structure was sound, but still no match of the volume of water that saturated the soil. Me never see so much water rush down before, he said. Francis said the drains were blocked by tree branches that were cut down but not disposed of properly. He and his daughter are pleading for help from anyone who will offer it as they pick up the pieces. They are also pleading with the relevant authorities to clean the drains and to properly dispose of all debris, including tree limbs. St. Thomas farmer charged for chopping death of neighbor freed. A 37-year-old St. Thomas farmer who was charged with the chopping death of his neighbor was freed in the parish court on Monday after the judge upheld submissions that he acted in self-defense. The judge also upheld arguments that Marvin McEwan did not have a case to answer. It was represented by King's Counsel Peter Champagne and attorney-at-law Patrice Riley. The deceased, Kuwait Wright, was fatally chopped during a domestic dispute on November 9, 2023. Allegations were that on the day of the incident, a resident heard the deceased shouting that someone was about to kill him. The resident came out of his home about an hour later and saw Wright's body with what appeared to be chop wounds. It was reported that before the police went to the scene, McEwan went to the police station and made a report that he was attacked by the deceased and that he chopped him in self-defense. He also told the police where the body was, and the 2 machetes were found at the scene. The attorney submitted that from the outset and in the absence of any eyewitness, the allegations did not disclose the case of the accused to answer to a charge of murder and that there was no evidence to display self-defense. The parish judge upheld the submissions and freed McEwan. Golding Labour's promises made by Holness has run with it vote-buying scheme. Opposition leader Mark Golding says the goodies promised by Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Sunday, including a 53% cut in the general consumption tax, GCT component on electricity bills and a $20,000 payment to vulnerable Jamaicans represent nothing more than a run-with-it, vote-buying scheme. Golden made the remarks on Tuesday at a press conference at the Hold Road offices of the People's National Party, PNP.
The promised reduction of the rate of general consumption tax on electricity will not impact the majority of JPS customers who consume less than 150 kilowatt hours per month of electricity and already benefit from the tax exemption introduced by the Portia Simpson Miller administration. In fact, the greater savings from the tax rate reduction will accrue to wealthier customers who consume more electricity. What is needed is strong and capable leadership to drive down electricity costs in Jamaica through a transformation of the energy sector. The PNP has a plan to achieve this and a shadow minister with a track record of achieving it. We will bring modern legislation as we've done before and massive investment to the energy sector, and for that our record speaks for itself. This government does not have the capacity to deliver the reforms required to achieve an efficient bureaucracy. And this is not a task that private sector bigwigs can be of much assistance with. The PNP's record of legislative capability, innovation, and nimbleness is what is needed to resume the process of making a bloated and cumbersome bureaucracy work for ordinary Jamaicans and Jamaican businesses. We will deliver for Jamaica. Aspire, as his new program is called, is just another PR exercise. It does not inspire and can only expire. The JLP government will continue to fail the people. Furthermore, this is a government without credibility to back up promises. 8 of their members of parliament, including the Prime Minister himself, are under investigation for the corruption offence of illicit enrichment. It is a blot on Jamaica's international image and reputation. No Prime Minister can lead the country with credibility when he remains under such a cloud when it comes to his own financial integrity.
JBNN will keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.